Hi guys, want to make a video today about how much you can make as a painting contractor. Um, it varies. Demographics has a lot to do with it. I know I'm on the East Coast, and in the middle, I'm in Virginia, so I can tell you what you could expect to make if you were in my location. But now that's going to change when you leave states. The further you go out west or up north, it's going to change drastically. And I honestly, I couldn't tell you, what those rates are. We don't do any out of town. We do out of town. We don't do any out of state, you know, jobs. Most of our stuff is within 30-mile radius. In fact, that's what I have on my website. Well, I think it's 50 miles. If money's right, I'll go 100 miles. If money's right, I'll go 200 miles. You get the idea. But the point is, it's going to change, depending on where you're at. There's going to be some locations to where money goes a lot further than others, and that's going to affect what you will make. So I'll tell you what you can expect to make if you're on the East Coast, somewhere around Virginia, somewhere around Central Virginia. Okay. Now, my system, what I do, basically, I hardly ever, and I've subscribed to a lot of painting, organizations and stuff. They want you to be a member of, and they send you all this information, and all that stuff's helpful. If you want to do that, by all means, do that. I did it later on. I didn't do it at first. But even after I learned everything that they wanted to teach me, I still find myself, more times than not, never using that. I always go back to what I know and what works for me. You know, I did it because and was interested in it because I wanted to make sure that what I was doing was, I wanted to make sure, for one thing, I wasn't ripping people off, charging way more than I should. And another thing, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't charging too little. I wanted to make the maximum amount of profit that I could. And by my system, if I was selling myself short, I wanted to know that. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so most of those people, they will tell you, like, do a takeoff. A takeoff is when you look at each little piece of area that you're going to be painting, especially in exteriors. Sometimes they do charge by linear feet, or how long they'll look at that and they'll say, well, it'll take a painter 15 minutes to do that. So 15 minutes, and that's what they do. But I don't do it that way. I don't do it that way. The way I do it is I've got two guys who work for me, my brother and my brother-in-law, and myself, and my son temporary. He works a couple of days a week when he feels like it, and then when he don't feel like he don't work. But anyway, so let's just say it's three of us, and I know what each of our capabilities are and what we can do. So when I go in to look at a job, let's say it's a three-bedroom house, okay, and let's say they want trim, walls, and ceilings. Let's say that. Okay, so basically, I'll look at a room and I'll look at a ceiling. If it's a lot of prep work, you got to add a little bit more to that because that takes time. You got to do it. You got to also consider: is it going to take one coat, two coats, three coats? I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff, but there's so much that factors in, but what I've found the easiest way to do it, like how long will it take? Let's just say, for instance, I look at this ceiling and I say, how long would it take me and these guys to paint this ceiling? All right. Okay. So based on that, I'll add a dollar amount to that. Like say it'll take us an hour to do that ceiling. Okay, first off, I know. All right, let's add up their pay. Let's just say that's $50 right there, 25 each for them. Per hour. They put an hour in it, so that's 50 off top. You gotta always add like 10, 15% to that for you probably gonna need to cover things up. You're gonna need plastic. You're gonna need tape, drop cloths. You add that to that $50, and then you say, well, if this is what my company is spending to paint this ceiling, let's just say $75. You know what what do I need to make to cover not only me, you know, my time, um, you know, materials, of course, my overhead, everything, gas to get here. You got to factor in everything, So typically, like say a 12 by 12 ceiling, I would say, 175 bucks. I make 100, I pay her 75. You know, hours work. Can't go wrong. All right, now walls. Typically, 4 wall room. If it's not a lot of cut, and if they got colors and you got to cut in colored walls to white ceilings, takes a little extra time. I'm very good at that. I've been doing it a long time. I'm very good at that. So it doesn't take me that long, but and not only are you cutting, the walls to the ceiling, chances are you're going to have white trim. You got to cut to that white trim. So it takes a little longer when you're dealing with colors like your reds and your blues and stuff, your dark colors. If you if you don't know what you're doing, you're not gonna have a straight line. And and if you get, I don't mean no offense to nobody, but if you gotta tape up stuff to cut a line, then you should probably hire someone else that can cut without tape, man, because I wouldn't hire you. If I asked you, can you cut in that ceiling right there, or can you cut in around that door jamb there, and cut a clean line with, like, let's say a red to white trim as a dark color. Now, if you are not perfect, it's going to show. You know what I'm saying? But the moral of the story, anyway, if you had to take that off to cut it, I would not hire you. But anyway, let's get back to what it cost. So you got to factor in those things. You got to factor in everything. You know what I mean? Factor in everything. And once you do that, I mean, you don't have to do it to the point where it's overwhelming you, like, am I leaving something out or something? Just think about it. Give it some thought. Common sense, man, will carry you a long way, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, first off the bat, it's going to cost you $75 to do that. Okay, are they buying the paint or are you buying the paint? If I'm buying the paint and it costs me $50 a gallon, $6 a gallon, I get a discount, of course. Don't ever forget that. You always get a discount at your local paint stores because you are a contractor. So you save a lot of money there. And a lot of times folks will ask me to get the paint because I can get it cheaper than they can. So anyway, so we're at about $1.75 for the ceiling. Let's say they want the trim done too. Okay, we're gonna do it all. So let's say we got an entry door in this casing, and you're only going to do, well, if we're going to do the whole house, let's just concentrate on the room. So that one bedroom, you would only do, half of the casing where it stops at, when you're stopped, where the door shuts. You'd only do one side of the door. Everything else is hallway. The other side of the door, the other side of the casing, that's hallway. That's not bedroom. So you're only doing, if you go in the room, close the door behind you, what you see, that's bedroom. But you got to open it up and then cut in the, up to the stop in the casing, that one round edge. But anyway, so let's say you got that one door. Let's say you got two windows, um, no chair or none. And let's just say you got baseboard. And you got a closet. So you're going to have, like, say, two closet doors beside each other and trim. So for that amount of trim, I would say it would take me and my guys probably about 3 hours, and we're not going to do the baseboard right away anyway. The baseboard, it will always be the last thing that you paint. You know, you don't, yeah, it's always the last thing you paint. Always paint your baseboard last. Okay. So, so let's say it's going to take us 3 hours for the trim. You know, 3 hours. All right, and that's not including the baseboard. So we're looking at probably about, so it's going to cost me right off the bat. Let's just say I'm using $25 an hour for my guys, them two. So it's cost me $50 an hour to work them two. Okay, so 3 hours, 3 times 25 is $75. 75 plus 75 is 150. So it's going to cost me 150 to pay them. All right, probably $50 for a gallon of paint. Okay, for trim paint. So you're looking at 200. Okay. Any other supplies you gotta get? Plastic, whatever. Just add all that stuff. I'm leaving that now. Add all that stuff. Okay, so let's say around 225 is what it will cost me out of my pocket to get it painted. Okay, so I'm gonna at least double that. Whatever I come up with, even if it ain't 225, let's just say it's 150. I'm gonna double that, 300. You know what I'm saying? Double that. This is what it costs you to do the job, and you're gonna make that amount also. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. All right, that's the trim. Walls, same thing. Add it up. So basically, for a good sized bedroom that doesn't have a master bathroom or anything, I'm just talking about the bedroom, you're probably looking at about 650 in my area, about 650, including materials. All right, and we said we was doing a 3-bedroom house, so it's going to vary different by room by room. Some rooms are bigger than the others, but typically a 1-story like ranch house that's 3 bedrooms, and they want everything painted inside, that ceilings, walls, and trim. It typically runs between around 3,500 and 4,500. And that's somewhere in the middle. You could probably do it for a little less, depending. Now, if you can go in and you can spray this thing, man, the walls and the ceilings are all going the same color. Even the trim is going the same color, but it's not. But everything else is going to be flat, and the trim is going to be the same color, but it's going to be in semi-gloss. Okay, so you have to come back and brush that. Anyway, you could do it for less, because man, I can spray that house. Me and a helper. I mean, it'd take them a couple hours to go in and get it set up for me. Man, I can go in with a helper and I can shoot that house in a couple hours. You know what I'm saying? I can fly through it, man. Boom, I'm gone. But, so in those cases, you can do it for less, And I end up a lot of times doing that for people because not all of my customers are wealthy people. They're working class people just like you and I. Well, I guess you are how I am. And if you're watching this video, you are too. So anyway, so I do it. It depends. I can like I said, if we're brushing and rolling everything, it's going to cost more. If I can spray it, everything's going one color, it's going to cost a lot less. But those are your basics. That's like a base price. And there's other ways of doing it too. There's many ways of doing it. But we'll get into more of that. But I just wanted to share that with you, and hope that helps you. All right, guys, thanks. Please don't forget to give me a like, subscribe if you will, and hit that button so you don't miss any content when I upload it. I try to upload one a day. If I miss one, I keep looking, it'll be out next day. Thanks, guys.